Feeling the energy, my friends, that Alex Gray energy surging through the nervous system here. Welcome back as we sail under sunny skies here in Berlin, Germany, on the pirate ship of the mind, at the editor's desk, where we're seeing an astonishing number of stories cross my desk, just like this one right here. Artist Journal, January 9th, 2024, broadcasting to the four corners of the earth. Here from the inner half of the nervous system, my name's Adrian Pocobelli, and welcome back, and thank you. Thank you for the incredible response yesterday for this outrageous show. At least in my mind, that I keep doing. You guys are egging me on, so, I keep doing it. And so it's a wonderful, what would you say, I guess a collaboration, but what do they call it? It's when corporations merge. There's a lot of synchronicities here. There's a wonderful synergy. There's a wonderful synergy here. There are a ton of tabs, so we're going to have to run through this episode here. So you may recognize the artist. You may recognize the work. This is part two, really, of the last week of works here. And what an astonishing work. The AI artists, and AI artists come from different parts, in the sense that here is Tkes, a glitch artist, at least that's, coming out of glitch. Look at that mountain. Look at that mountain. I dare any, modern painter to come and look at this up close and not marvel. I dare you not to marvel. Look at this. The originality, I dare say, of this work, the execution of this, AI painting, and then up close, look at the composition, the daring composition. Let's zoom out for a second. These wonderful, almost paradisical flowers here, these heavenly flowers with what frankly looks like almost somewhere in Canada. Almost looks like Lake Louise there, or what is it, Emerald Lake? Kind of looks like Banff there. Those are the colors, that emerald water with a little extra island in there, but kind of looks like Alberta. If you go to Canada, if you're an outdoors person, this is probably the highlight, I would say, is these kind of scenes. Lake Louise, if you've ever heard of that, we used to go a lot when I was a kid. Shout out to Mom out there. Waving through the airwaves here. And so look at this. Let's go back to the flowers. Again, we don't have a ton of time here, but the brushwork. You just have to stop and marvel at what's going on here. And hey, maybe it's Tkes putting in, a certain prompt, maybe mixing, getting lucky. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it didn't exist before Tkes started doing his thing. And once Tkes started doing their thing, this, my friends, is the result. So, it's kind of like, at the heart of the actual bear market. What bear market? If there's any rough sentiment or people are down, all I would say is zoom in. Sometimes they say zoom out. I'm saying zoom in. Look at this. And you can't make this with physical brushes, but it's sourced, interestingly, I would argue, from physical paint. So again, it's this theme of traveling through the mediums, I would argue. And how am I saying, where do I see this? I see it especially, let's say here, for example, for a little provocation before we run through this episode. As I mentioned in a previous episode, one of the kind of classic, I would say, contemporary art ways of making a painting interesting is to mix two colors kind of not perfectly mixed, but just get a little bit of each color, and then you brush, and then you get brush strokes like this, where it's kind of mixed like that, right? But I would say this looks like it's kind of like that style, that technique, for lack of better terms. Well, it is a technique, but AI'd, so to speak, transformed, as Calvin and Hobbes would say, as Calvin would say, transmogrified by the AI. So here too, this is kind of like splash work, and let's keep kind of zooming through this. Here it looks like brush paint splashes, but different. And you can still tell, if you've looked at a lot of AI works, you can still identify the AI distortions, as I like to call them, but they are becoming more faint and subtle at the same time. I mean, look at these trees, this landscape, this composition, this texture in the water here, which is almost like the reflection of the sky in the water or the white clouds, quite amazing when you really zoom in here. So big congrats to tkes. I believe this is an all-time high. We have the tweet here. Let's take a closer look. Sold for 12 sol. And I remember going to tkes' page, I thought like last week, and they were mostly unsold, if I'm not mistaken. And now, let me just zoom in here. And now, I think it's like 90% sold out. Just shattered records with Alpine Bloom, cool title. Our latest sale on Solana has set a new personal best, hitting the incredible milestone of 12 sol. And how much is that? I mean, $1,200, let's call it right now. Congrats to Turvu for winning the auction, and big thank you to the other bidders. Pretty awesome. And then before you know it, these auctions go, and tkes has like, here, maybe this is a 2024 collection. Let me very quickly, did I bring it up? Here's another one, 5 sol. I mean, this is real money here. $600, one of one AI art. Let's just look closer. Again, interestingly, using this kind of flowers in the foreground with a landscape in the background. Here's another variation here, just super impressive. And you have to also be impressed with the high resolution of this work. Like it really, this is like something that the good AI artists, like who are full on in AI art, seem to know how to do, which is to magnify it in good form, like, and make it look persuasive, and it's not starting to break down. So pretty just cool. Here are tkes. So tkes has a ton actually on. So this is the most recent here. But as you see, sold for a sol, like almost like make offer. It looks like it's all sold out. Like tkes has made a fortune here, and maybe a lot of this sold beforehand. Like I'm not exactly sure, but I mean cleaned out. And I thought I remembered like a week ago actually checking out tkes' page and thinking, oh, there's actually quite a bit available. How's the market doing? I was wondering to myself, but maybe I misread the page, but that's what I thought. So I mean, this could have a lot of this gone. Here are 3 new ones, or 3 old ones that haven't sold. That is it. So pretty cool, pretty impressive, pretty cool person. tkes was on the Spaces, gosh, when I was in Sicily about 2.5 months ago. What a glorious trip that was. Taormina. That's where I did the Spaces with tkes and Runetune, and it was really awesome. So that is worth checking out. I believe it's online. If it's not, it's on my to-do list, and it's creeping up the to-do list very quickly. Speaking of the Spaces, very thrilled to have Artie Hands on next show. Thrilled to welcome Artie Hands to this week's Spaces to dive deep on collecting and curating digital art on the blockchain. So Artie Hands, who many of you know, there's already a ton of tweets and retweets here and everything. I saw like last I looked this morning, there was 45 people attending, and we're just getting started here. I posted it before I went to bed last night. So it should be a good show. Artie Hands seems to be a very friendly, cool person. I think he's doing a show with VerseWorks this week, so the timing is awesome. So anyway, it should be really interesting. So, and for those that don't know, here is Artie Hands, Punk7635. If Tezos actually died, and because this was becoming a bit of a conversation, which maybe I'll bring up in the next show, we'll see. I just proudly boast the best Tezos collection ever put together. You and me both, Artie, but probably Artie has a better collection than I do, I'm sure. All to say, but you know what I liked about this tweet, though? Is I kind of related in the sense that, it's kind of makes things easy as a collector. Because as a collector, then you go, oh, okay, I did it. And then you can maybe fill in the gaps a little bit. And then it's like you kind of have a starting and an ending. And then you just are filling in the gaps for the next 10 years. So you have the ultimate Tezos or, museum, NFT museum. So that is, yeah. So I kind of related to that comment there. That post. So thank you again for the comments here. Kelly Burns, great to see you back and having fun with it. Adrian, thanks so much for sharing my piece. Safe hands. You are welcome, Kelly. And great to hear from you. I think a long-time watcher there. Kyle Flemmer, welcome back, Adrian. Irrational leaps that I embraced is a great way to characterize risk-taking in your art. Yeah, that was exactly what it was. Glad to hear you speak a bit about your process for the Promoted Stories series, and thanks again for sharing my work. You're welcome, KF. I'm not sure. We may have another one today. I'm not positive, though. Thanks for the comment. Score, welcome back. Thank you so much for reviewing Lucky Cats. I'm happy to hear those are hilarious. I'm actually hanging out with my friend Ben on Thursday. We're going to the Kristen Hillergerdy Gallery, if I'm pronouncing that right. Maybe I'll find out how to pronounce that gallery when I go on Thursday. There's a show opening there. Who's my friend who likes the Lucky Cats there. I'm happy to hear your friend is collecting the cats. Exactly. That is my friend Ben. Gotokuji Temple is a very lovely place to visit in Tokyo. It's quite touristic now. I also feel that the market is not so active since the end of last year. It's time to experiment and enjoy multi-chain. Indeed. And we're going to have more on that, this time on Bitcoin. I wonder, too, if this is also a function of just Christmas. Like, Christmas is expensive. And so maybe, because I feel like it's just the last month or so and there are still significant sales. Like we saw the Louis Osborne go for $420. We're going to see here a rat cloak going for $270. And Tezos is almost $1. So this is real money. And people putting into not as liquid investments. But it's interesting that you make that observation as well. Thank you, Score. And this is very important here, this note from Cableen. It's a massive correction, actually. Thank you for your episode. Just one thing. The first tweet by Howdy Do is one of his jokes that he posted after being told he was not banned. His account was placed under review for violation of the terms of service, and the team decided not to ban him. So Howdy Do is not banned, actually. There is no mention of a permanent ban after a certain period, like is indicated in his tweet. So thank you for clearing that up. And I think it is kind of interesting just in terms of the whole, decentralized ethos. And, from what I could tell, it seemed like Howdy Do was, I don't want to say being obnoxious, but was kind of being a little bit, provocative. Let's call it that. And so, I wasn't taking sides either way, but thank you for clearing that up because, very interesting and great to hear from you, Cableen, as ever. And the website is beautiful. I think they did a perfect job, is what I say. I really do. But actually, we have an addition. Someone else made a comment. We'll see that in a second of a little improvement that could be made. We'll see it in a second. Pixel Lord. Love to see you back and even more art power and new object. 2024, great start for the art. No one fails if the art inspires, exactly, at least someone and makes them emotional. FUD and FOMO is like waves on a sea, always changing each other. Indeed, isn't it? And I think it also is just a reflection of, again, what I like to call the beating heart of this market. Like the financial side matters. And I would argue the reason why I think we could make the argument there is a significant revolution of historical proportion going on the blockchain is because there's a market incentive. If there wasn't, I'm not convinced that we'd have everybody giving away their art and Instagram, like even these people we see on Instagram, they're mostly trying to get in galleries and sell their work. So all to say, I think that is the secret weapon of this scene is just you post it and within a minute, you can actually have $1 in your pocket. Leprochant, welcome. Agree with all the ideas about multi-chain art that you mentioned. On the other hand, as an artist, it's important to understand that often the collectors seeking your art style are on a different chain than the one you are on. And that's actually a very interesting point. Someone tweeted about that. I don't know if I have that tweet available. Decentralization, freedom, and expansion are the natural conditions of pure art. Indeed, I would say freedom especially. And you could argue decentralization goes along with freedom because, what is a gatekeeper, for example? That is centralization. But yeah, again, I'm sort of, let's just, it's a long show today, but we'll return to these issues. And I very much empathize and sympathize with these ideas. Freedom, expansion, and decentralization are a natural condition of art. And let's continue. Someone actually, like a collector, mentioned, is it okay if I ask someone to burn a work on a certain chain to put it on another chain? Say, for example, if you were to say, can you burn your work on Tezos and mint it on Solana? Is that okay to ask? And I say, why not ask? Maybe the artist doesn't want to do it. I tend to group exhibitions and series on certain chains. There's the Promoted Story series. I go multi-chain, but that's also a very conscious decision. So who knows the reaction you'd get, but I don't think there's anything wrong with asking. Flora Marquez, welcome back to your Pocobelly. Hope you enjoyed those vacations. I sure did. They were great. Some were working vacations, you could say, but they were great. It was great to get out of town and just good for the soul. Human Boy Vibes. Human Boy, welcome back and great episode. Thank you. And more to Spiral. Cool episode, friend. Thank you. Let's continue here. So just so you know, this is a thing. I'm going to try and do it again today. It's kind of like a testing thing. Let's see how much time. As you can imagine, it already takes a lot of time to put these shows together. But basically, now what I'm doing is taking all the works on Tezos and putting them in chronological order and just basically adding them to a curation of the day. So as you'll see here, I think I brought it up. Artist Journal. So this is yesterday's episode. We already have 8 sales too, which is pretty rad. I mean, 15 cents. But I could see that going up because a lot of these probably don't even have, the royalty because I think that's maybe a newer feature. I think you set the royalty. You can set it now when you create, but I don't think it's assumed on older works. All to say, how cool is that, right? So it's a little bit of extra work, but it seems to have a nice payoff. And it is nice to actually have a place to centralize, so to speak, your curation, right? And it's not just on video, but there's actually a place you can load up. So I may potentially try and put this link into the YouTube. I'm not sure if I should do it on the videos because I think it might hurt the reach by putting a link on the videos on X. So I may put it on like an hour later or who knows. Still trying to figure that out. But the show, it was doing fabulous here, like just in terms of reach, 12,500, and that was put like less than a day ago. So 12,500 views. So that is fabulous. And thank you everybody for the comments here. Everybody, Artie Hands, Tricky. Artie Hands is in New York, so waking up early there. And Tukes, awesome to hear from you. Lips in Black, Gogo Lightus, Prismas, Retro Manny. Like, this is awesome. Haiti Rocket. Kika Nicolela mentioning the curation feature. So there I posted it. And also there's Kells. Great to see you again, Adrian. Thanks so much for sharing my piece. Safe Hands. It's a commemorative utility mint for the first Handrails event. The nautical theme was in part inspired by your pirate ship of the mind concept and by the stormy seas we're battling, enchanted as we are by the oft-treacherous siren song. A bit of everyone's work was cut into the piece, including Uxine and all the artists here listed. Thanks again, AP. And also loved the HP Lovebucks piece, which was the Evil Knievel piece, which I loved too. And also from Wasteman Goldminovich, who of course made this brilliant work of art right here, the Failed Artist series. Thanks, your instincts about the Manet reference in the mushroom one are spot on. And coincidentally, with you reading Dante, the female nude is meant as a sort of Beatrice figure. Really astute analysis and cool things I hadn't thought of in the exposition generally too. So it's always a thrill to hear from the artists in the episode, especially the ones that you kind of start with. So that is totally awesome. So thank you, Wasteman, and just brilliant, brilliant work here. So there is, again, the curation of yesterday of the Tezos works. And who was it? It was Indio Robot, who was also suggesting you could do it before the show and then click, rather than having all these tabs open, you could just click through the works. But the problem with that is it's totally multi-chained, this show. Like we started, say, with an exchange.art, and then we go through a bunch of tweets. So just technically, it would be hard to do that in the sense. If I was starting this show from zero, I might be tempted to do that. I might have started it like that. But now the way it is with all the commentary and everything and different chains, just going with it as it is. But this was quite interesting as well. In your robot, it would be nice for Object to implement buttons to flip through the items in the curation without having to go back to the thumbnails. Just saying. My buttons suck, I know, but so here, as you see, India Robot added some buttons in here. I thought it was a pretty good idea. So a nice little tweak here where you could actually just go piece by piece, and it would be more like a gallery. I mean, it's getting closer and closer, isn't it? So I think might be a tricky feature to implement, but I think worth it. So very cool. And also regarding the curation, going to make a curation tomorrow called the best NFT minted on Hic Nunc, and it's just going to be this piece by Yuri J with an accompanying essay of around 3,000 to 5,000 words. So RJ throwing down the gauntlet here, saying this is the best work on Hic Nunc, and it does look like a brilliant work. I'm looking forward to hearing what RJ has to say. And look at this cool stained glass, and it almost seems like I was going to say like the mosaic filter, but the mosaic filter actually isn't used here, even though Yuri J, at least I don't think. But it is a beautiful work. So let's not talk about it too much. Let's just look at the work and wait for RJ and see. We probably won't be able to read the whole thing, but I'm just maybe we'll take some snippets when that's done. Luke 500. So a little bit on ordinals here. This came out a few days ago, January 3rd. Where are my ordinals stored at? A non-technical about Bitcoin ordinal theory, aka NFTs on digital gold. Exactly. Exactly. That's an important thing to understand. Today marks the 14th anniversary of the first block, so let's celebrate and try to understand why and who want to censor them. Yes, they want to delete your JPEG bags, because of course not all the Bitcoin developers are happy that the network is getting congested with art. With all these people putting art or whatever documents, anything. It does get me thinking, like, art is maybe the least of their problems that people could upload on there. Right? Like, then you're going to have a problem if people start doing something like they should be embracing the art because, yeah. So let's continue here. The above piece was sold for a whopping 0.255 BTC, or approximately $10,000. And we see this with Ethereum a little bit. It's like Walmart. It has the illusion of being cheap when something's 0.25, or you see, it's only 0.01 Ethereum, but it's actually like $40. And that feels like a little amount of money. But then if you just said $40 US, you might think, if someone put it on the table, that's real money. This could also work in artists' favor. This pricing of Bitcoin being, $40,000, $45,000, $48,000 last I checked. Let's start from the beginning what ordinals are. It's a protocol that makes sure to know where single identifier Satoshi data inscription, each one has a serial number, is stored. So this is the work that sold for $10,000. And I'm not sure we can go through all of this because it's a little long for the show. But ultimately, let's just do a couple here. Because ultimately, let me try and summarize as far as I understand. Each Satoshi can get the data. You can inscribe data on each Satoshi. There can be data inscribed on it. So as someone was mentioning, these are both fungible and non-fungible, and you have to be careful with that. If you're minting on, say, like I minted on Magic Eden, and we'll get into other ways of minting here, I think, in a second. You have to be careful because I actually sent all my Bitcoin in a wallet to another wallet, and that takes your ordinals with it, your digital art with it. So you have to be very conscious of what you're doing. I'm not even sure how they distinguish between works you've inscribed. I think the wallets sort of figure out, okay, that person is inscribed on these Satoshis, so therefore we won't spend those ones. But if you're not careful, you can spend the Satoshis that you minted art on. Go to Luke 500's page. because this is a little long for this show, but I did want to open the show, and yeah, so let's just continue here and just have the conversation. I want to touch on this conversation. Ned Ryerson. I came to the space to learn and try new things, and I've enjoyed learning about ordinals. One thing you might not know about them is that they're both fungible and non-fungible, as I was just discussing here. It just depends on your point of view, but how is that possible? And ordinals are inscriptions on the smallest unit of Bitcoin, a Satoshi, or a sat. So technically it is still Bitcoin and can be used like normal Bitcoin, unlike ETH, where ERC 721 and 1155 aren't also on Ether. Interestingly, so an inscribed Satoshi, aka ordinal, is both fungible and non-fungible. And this is exactly what I was just discussing. If you do get an ordinal wallet, make sure to send Bitcoin to the BTC address and ordinals to the original address. You don't want your ordinals in there with all your other Bitcoin. Why? Because you view these Satoshis to be non-fungible and want them separated. Think of an ordinal like a carving on a penny. If you threw a penny with a valuable carving on it into a big jar with other pennies to be spent at will, that would be bad. Instead, put in a different wallet with only pennies with valuable carvings on it. Needless to say, I'm still very long ETH and ETH NFTs, but I think the very fundamental fact that its chain is Bitcoin means ordinals could have staying power. And the ordinal community has been nothing but kind and helpful. Here's to learning new things. Cheers to that, Ned Ryerson. J. Loon Brickens, interesting dynamics comparing ordinals and stamps. Now remember, Santiago Izzacotl was mentioning how ordinals aren't necessarily immutable, which was interesting because some ordinals people say they are, but that stamps were. Media is less prunable for stamps, which stored in the UTXO. I assume that's a transaction set, at least initially, versus ordinals storing in witness data. Token is more prunable for stamps, where transfers primarily use OP return versus ordinals using sats. So just pointing out here the distinction between ordinals and stamps and how there is still discussion. It is still kind of early as far as this whole, minting on Bitcoin idea or inscribing. And then there is something called cursed inscriptions, which is kind of delving into the weeds a little bit here. Here's Ripcash. Cursed inscriptions are special, and I don't think you can mint on them anymore. For this reason, only buy and store them with an Xverse app wallet or equivalent tech that will recognize the unique nature of cursed inscriptions, i.e. those with a negative number. So this is a whole other issue. And so these were from the cursed inscriptions, I believe, that Ripcash did. Following back, all swarm bug collectors. If you have a bug, share it below using the SVG to PNG converter custom made for the project. So this may be, I assume, to save on fees. So a nice little tip here. Maybe you mint it as an SVG that can be converted to a PNG, and maybe that saves you space. Not exactly sure. And you see different sizes here, or different colors, I should say, and different variations. So very cool and very interesting. One other comment from Ripcash on this whole discussion. If you're an artist interested in Bitcoin ordinals and you're looking to inscribe work, I highly encourage you to learn how to do it yourself. And I wasn't sure if this was a joke or not. With one simple command, ord wallet inscribe your art.png, fee rate 69, and your work is inscribed and fully on chain forever. I wasn't sure if this was a joke, but it actually doesn't. I thought it was. But then every artist should watch your Bitcoin ordinal walkthrough tutorial video series. So, okay, let's just bookmark that. So I guess Paz, if you're interested in this, you might want to watch the video by Paz. And there's another one here. Is there any tutorial available to learn? So, or some documents or stuff? Yeah, check out the official documents. It has all the info you need to get started. docs.ordinal.com. So if you're interested in minting on Bitcoin, it may be worthwhile. Sounds like it is worthwhile to go through all this stuff because it may save you a fortune, especially that SVG to PNG. That could be very interesting to experiment with. Defiance works. Continuing on, to the crypto native, the chain is everything. To the art native, the chain is meaningless. Both of these groups benefit massively from understanding each other. And I think I think these are almost absolutist kind of views, but they illustrate a point. I actually don't believe the chain is everything to crypto natives, or to maybe somewhat, but to the maxis, I guess. But to the art natives, I don't think it's meaningless. Like, I don't want to mint on dead chains. The chain means something, but I think the point is powerful. That, this is maybe part of the argument, so to speak, on, where people mint, where artists mint, and what that means. So I thought just an illustrative tweet. Skitchism. Great artist, has some work on Solana and Tezos. One of the first artists I collected on Tezos, actually. Nice psychedelic illustrations. Maybe I have to accept that some people on ETH don't collect on Sol, and otherwise some people on Sol don't collect on ETH. After years, that is not our domain to complain about. Our domain is to create piece after piece, things we love, and share it to the world. And indeed, this is where artists are focused, is putting out good work that they feel is worthwhile, that's sellable, that's good, that they're happy with, that they can live and die with. Remember RJ's writing their work I can live with today, tomorrow, and the day after, where I wasn't sure if that was a Van Gogh or RJ. Continuing on, Jim Roll, actually the person who first bid on the first work I put on Solana. Question, have any new one-of-one collectors come to Sol yet, or is it mostly artists? I'm just curious what people are seeing. And that is an interesting question. Is it mostly just artists coming over collectors? Interesting question. Pablo, crypto art is dead. So this one got quite a bit of traction, 59,000 views. So someone who's naysaying crypto art. Now, crypto art's a slippery term. I've asked several, prominent people in the space, whether it was Xerox or Robness and others. I think Santiago Izquierdo. I've asked this question, like, how do you define crypto art? And I actually think there's two definitions. Some words do that, where it is both all art minted on the blockchain, but it has a more specific, and actually I'd say this is the primary definition, is art that somehow reflects or embodies or quotes to a certain, and loosely put, the culture of crypto. That's why you see the surveillance cameras like in Rip Cash, or the flashing lights, you could argue is another crypto art characteristic. Whereas, so in a sense, one could say someone like me, I'm just putting art on the blockchain. But to the person on the street, that's probably crypto art. To me, it's like, well, I don't know if I'd call it crypto art, right? So I think it has two definitions. Now, this person here is using it in what I'd call the primary definition, which is art relating to the culture, as you'll see here in a second. Reflecting on its journey, it's clear it was a passing fad, referring to crypto art, sparking the current digital art revolution, but lacking the depth for longevity. Led by questionable ethics and self-destructive ethos, it was never built to last. So a criticism of the culture, interesting, of crypto art. On the brighter side, digital art on the blockchain is flourishing, more inclusive, less ideologically rigid. It's evolving, maturing, and carving its rightful place in culture. The journey ahead for digital art is long, but the potential is immense. The stage is set for those with long-term vision, exceptional talent, and deep commitment, ready to elevate this frontier to the height of art and culture. I'm committed, ever excited, and eagerly anticipating the bright future unfolding before us. And now the call to action for all of us: embrace this shift. Join me in championing the artists and innovators who are redefining the digital art space. Together, let's build a legacy that transcends fleeting trends and reshapes the cultural landscape. So, the only thing I disagree with, I don't actually think it's dead. As long as there are artists that are making work that embody the culture, like we just looked at Ripcash there, we'd look at, as long as this guy's around, right? As long as that guy's around, as long as Robness is around, you could argue Xerox, right? As long as people are making the work, it's not dead. And I just think it's self-evident. Like, it's just a self-evident truth, is it dead if, this just came out? And people still seem to be buying it. So I think, again, it kind of reminds me of the tweet from yesterday. It felt like a little bit of engagement farming here. But ultimately, I think an interesting provocation, shall we say, and, I think there is a sense to be somewhat, again, the charity of interpretation, as we discussed. Check out that episode if you want to know what that means, from Plato's Crito. If you do a search way back, basically seeing the other side's argument from their point of view. So if we were to try and see Pablo's argument from Pablo's point of view, you could argue to a certain degree that that things have shifted. There has been a change in the culture since 2021, especially as new artists kind of come on, and who are not necessarily, crypto people from 2015. Right? So you could argue that the culture is evolving and changing, but I don't see it as dead. But interesting, just an interesting provocation. And so that's why I share it here with you. And here, more brilliance from Uxine. And look at this. This almost looks like bathroom floor tiling. And they're punning with that, or even a kind of, something a lot of us have thought about is mosaics, right? It's kind of like a mosaic of a certain kind, but using modern, tiling and stones that you might get, industrial-made stones that you would get from, a store, right? A hardware store. Kind of making this quite brilliant. So very interesting, because it works with, of course, it puns with the pixels, right? These square tiles here. So really cool piece by Uxine there. Nice physical, Uxine. RJ, the end. So this was a tweet that I mentioned yesterday that I wanted to just parse out a little bit. The end, the one of one, which sold for 69 Tezos of Van Gogh's ear, or an ear in the spirit of Van Gogh, chopped off with an AirPod in it. And again, to produce the work you can live with today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, this is the only goal. Sounds like a Van Gogh quote, but not clear. This one of one will be my last work on Tezos under RJ for the foreseeable. So it sounds like not on Tezos period, but just under RJ. But not clear. Nothing to do with chain allegiances or loyalties, but personal development, of which there's been a huge amount this year. Well, RJ has put out a ton of work this year. Indeed, so there must be, and just inevitably, there will be a huge amount of development. Auction live for 7 Tezos, so this already sold, but this is the tweet from yesterday that I was referring to. And, just another, the market is doing pretty good. 242 Tezos here for Rat Cloak, this one of one Truxton Station, from Rat Cloak. So nice sale, 242 Tezos. So pretty good. So the market, again, I'm taking it on a case-by-case basis, which is interesting. It's just interesting to note. Let's continue here. Popple. I'm making a 1-bit pixel forest scene with many tentacles and decaying organs for the game I'm making. So Popple's making a game. Coming end of January. That's not far at all. That is 3 weeks away. Can't wait to show you. And there's Retro Manny. Super exciting, because, of course, Retro Manny... will this be on the blockchain? Yes, the core mechanism is tightly related to how blockchain works. You're right. A console to emulation, it would be cool and would be more welcoming to a wider audience. Interesting. And of course, Retro Manny here, something that wicked this way comes, working on a new collab with OX Dither, who does those retro TVs that you can turn around, worked with Manidal, Gogolitis. So just a cool preview here of what's going on Retro Manny's screen here, who is also working on a video game, I think, for the Retro Manny figure. So just cool. Continuing on, and let me just kill the volume on that. Continuing on, look at who this is. I mean, this looks like a video game. I'm not sure what this is. This is Ed Marola. GM, walk new paths, meet me there, where? So interesting. Kind of looks like, almost like video game, but not quite. But interesting new work from Ed Marola. A lot of experimentation there. Walk, Me and My Imagination in Real Life campaign by R. Zora in New York City, Sao Paulo, and Mexico City. So a truly global scene here. And there you can see, this brilliant motto here. Upload imagination, worthy of McDonald's, as I like to say, by Zora. And there, they did a really nice job here with, that looks like Walk's work right there. Maybe that's Pamelo there. And people just having fun. Maybe that's Walk. I'm not sure. Because maybe these are the artists that they put alongside. So just a really cool campaign there from Zora, out in the real world, big cities around the world. How cool is that? And Ex-Mortal Connect on view at the Oculus New York City and part of Bad Glitches Only, Much Love Super Chief NFT. Looks killer on these screens. And I agree, a cool solution here to one of the, the challenges facing digital display of artwork, and a really cool solution here. With, and you know what the kind of killer is here? The killer move is the square one in the middle. That really, it really breaks it up where all of a sudden it disorients you. You're not used to it. A cool creative decision there by whoever did that, probably someone at Super Chief. So nice piece there. And all walls will be digital. Longtime Cosmo de Medici, longtime viewers will remember the episode The Walls Will Become Screens from 11 months ago here, almost a year ago. Look at this. So Samsung debuts world's first transparent micro LED screen at CES 2024. So I was speculating there in that episode that really eventually the walls will become screens and this whole display issue will likely disappear. It'll be wallpaper where we can change our wallpaper. Seems like fairly safe speculation, but here we go. So kind of happened a little faster than I expected here. Micro LED screens at CES 2024. Kind of looks like glass, doesn't it? Looks a little thicker than I expected too, but I'm sure we're just getting started on that, but pretty cool. Again, no background, right? And theoretically, you could probably put those on a screen right now. Like, look at that. And you can probably attach these, they're probably squares that you can probably just modularly attach already. You see this right here? Crazy, right? That's getting pretty wild. Probably has a Wi-Fi thing inside of it. Anyway, let's continue here. Yishan, a new light editor is introduced in the latest version of Vector to 3D. So Figma, we were discussing this with Michael Micasso in December on the Spaces, because of course Adobe was going to take over Figma, and I think they ran into issues with the regulator. They were offering something like $20 billion or something insane like that, but just goes to show the concern that Adobe had about Figma's tools here. So look at this. So here's an example. And I'm not sure if these are web-based tools or not, but you see here's the turntable, and look how easy this is. Like, I think they're trying to make, like, part of why people like Figma, I think, is the intuitiveness, perhaps, of the UI, the user interface. So pretty nice. And you can see Photoshop inspired, even in the gray, the dark gray there. So just an interesting, you see how you can control the light here in 3D by Figma. I'm not sure if this is a web-based software or it's something you download, but interesting. Just one to pay attention to as far as software is concerned. And check this out. So Pamelo Chirone, let me bring this up first. They were incredible days of many drawing and concentration with my brothers, who from this project created Pam Pam Animation, the best 2D animation studio. So, don't want to do too much music here just for copyright reasons, but pretty cool. So they made the video, and here, let's see if I can bring it up here. So, Pamelo, just very fun and very cool. So again, Pamelo continues to bring the art out into the wider world there. Very interesting. Let's get into the paintings, shall we? So Martin Brook put this out a week ago. Reserve of only 0.1. Beautiful work here. It looks, I'm not sure if this is static or not. Let's just, let's actually see if this is a GIF or not. Let me see. View metadata. Let's see. It is a JPEG, a rare JPEG from Martin Brook, at least as far as I understand. So beautiful composition here. It kind of jumps right out at you on the screen here, as it did on my phone as I was scrolling through. Just another super interesting work by Martin Bruce, a discovery of the last few months here. Continuing on, Gozo, sorry. This is Gozo, who does the highly textured AI collage works. So again, kind of, I think, uses similar tools to Scamra, and we're going to see a really beautiful Scamra work today, but this is Gozo. Really nice use of AI and digital collage, making these beautiful, surreal scenes. Really does seem to have a surreal influence in a great way. Also with the regular animations that Gozo does, that are almost like these Yves Tanguy-like shapes, surreal shapes, but more in animation. Maybe we can bring that up in a second. And even just the use of the shore here. And then you have this green, and you see I think it's stable diffusion text analyzer or whatever it's called, where you get these incredible textures. So just a really nice surreal piece by Gozo, The Visit, with a nice surreal title on it too, I might add, by Gozo, 2024, 4,000 by 4,000, 15 Tezos on primary, and there are 4 available. Continuing on, Amnesia. This is by Detaste. And I'm not sure if this is made on Detaste's phone, but I thought it was a nice piece. This is from September 27th. I just saw this on Twitter. I think I thought it looked familiar. I think we may have looked at this before. We'll look at it again. As you see here, clouds in where the face would be in the hoodie, and just a really nicely painted work. I think Detaste often works on the phone, but I'm not positive on that one, and this is sold out. So again, this is from September. Here is Zozo, Through the Looking Glass, minted on January 2nd. So a new one from Zozo. Let me just make this big. Just a super cool artist, Zozo. Another discovery from the last few months. Again, I kind of grouped these artists together a little bit. Martin Bruce, and it's kind of Gozo to a certain degree, but especially like Zozo and Nuv 1914 is what I like to call indie digital art. And so just really interesting work. I think a curio fringe, when I use that term a lot, really cool feed to follow, and great artist, actually. And look at these great textures in here. And what I mean by that indie thing is really, indie digital art is really bold decision-making in the artwork, and bold decisions. Remember I was talking about taking risks and this sort of thing? There's a lot of bold decisions that are made with these artists, and just really interesting and great music. Nuv 1914, another bold artist here. So Confrutia, and here it looks like a princess, if we can make this full screen here, and a strawberry, both subject matter of Nuv 1914's work. And again, you see, this is what I'm talking about. Really kind of bold decision-making here, say with this little pixel cutout here, which looks like it's repeated. Again, pushing the frontiers of aesthetics. You see this little gradient here. Again, the color, risky business, and really cool. 15 Tezos, 1 of 1. A nice piece. Here's another one, experimenting with abstracts. This is 1 of 1. After a holiday break from collecting and posting, returning to it with a new Nuv 1914 and a new direction for her, Avian 1 is more minimal, more abstract. So referring to this, more minimal, cool, and you see it with these frames here, more minimal work that we're seeing, just experimental abstracts from Nuv 1914. This was pretty cool. Now, who is this? Commemorative tokens on Neutro Arts, Neutro's Bridge Commemorative Mint. This artwork is part of the Bridge Collective drop. Is this Neutro? Maybe it's Neutro Art. No, it's. I'm not sure who the minter is, or is this Neutro Art? I'm not sure who the artist is, but I thought it was a great piece, isn't it? Just fun and original, very nice piece, nice execution of what looks like a kind of rainbow, but maybe it's an arc of sorts or architectural structure. Again, bold decision on the cloud here with the blue spray on the bottom of the cloud. Very interesting work. Here is a beautiful work, which kind of weirdly, by Mo Shit, as I like to call them, that weirdly reminds me of The Last Supper. Robots on the Emotion Table. I think it's the ratio. But I thought a pretty interesting, cool work here, and this is on Zora. And this was actually minted 2 months ago. Okay, so in all the bookmarks, forgive me for, but we can show older work here too, because I've never seen this one. So this is by Mo Shit on Zora. And so I thought a really nice piece here that I had missed. And again, kind of weirdly reminiscent of a Last Supper of sorts. What is the title? Robots on the Emotion Table. Cool work there. And this is Scroll by Mumbleboy. And this should be a recent mint 1 day ago. Let's let this play. Again, kind of indie. And so someone's scrolling through the phone with Mumbleboy's collage style, almost going through Mumbleboy works, interestingly. So almost self-referential. Cool depth of field thing going on here. Another risk of this kind of fuzzed out, JPEG'd out hand. Cool work from Mumbleboy. Primary, 5 Tezos, 3 left. And here's Play Kappa. This was a 1 of 1, which nobody bid on, but probably just flew under the radar there. And so here, a cool 1 of 1 from Kappa, who continues to release a lot of really cool work here. And you see some of the art on the wall, a reference to Cause here, McDonald's, Stussy, always a ton of references. There's Object Homepage and Murakami, maybe. So cool, and there seems to be the Kappa sage figure in purple water, almost royal, gold bathtub with purple water, royal colors there. As Kappa sage smokes something, a cigarette of sorts, or maybe a fry. As Kappa smokes a fry. I want you to be nice to me. This is GloomTube. This one just jumps out at you, and just doesn't this speak to the zeitgeist here? Very tempted to begin with this today. Just an awesome piece by GloomTube, which again, kind of like if you could put 2024 globally, really, in one image. Here it is. The specter of this wild election is looming behind us, and there is Uncle Sam, GloomTube figure, the happy face guy as Uncle Sam. I want you to enroll for the army, but instead here, I want you to be nice to me. So a really cool, excellently executed piece by GloomTube, who spray paints a happy face on America. Of course, kind of dystopian American theme here with GloomTube. Just very cool artist. So nice work there. Safe from Pain. Louis Osborne with a brilliant work here. I'm not sure if this is a 1 of 1, maybe an edition of 50. Not exactly sure. Maybe it's not for sale yet. Not sure. Maybe, yeah. So 2 owners so far, and a really cool piece here. As you can see, the rain are unhappy faces, and then the couple here, or the friends, or the couple, have happy faces and are protected from the unhappiness that is raining on them. A pretty brilliant work here. A beautiful ratio here as well. Beautiful composition and everything, and the nice negative space that the rain, where the rain isn't apparent, or where the rain isn't falling, quite beautiful by Louis Osborne. Really consistent, great artist there. I think out of Bristol. And here's a couple of works in progress. So here was one that was released on the 7th, a swing with a shadow. And then we got another clue here, Best Friends Forever. And so almost feels like a bit of a cemetery and tombstones, and with the kind of a darker piece, isn't it? Although they're happy here on the tombstone, but you almost want to connect the people who would have been on the swings, walking through life here as these shadows are, and maybe here together in a kind of cemetery of sorts. That is my interpretation. We'll see what else happens if there are further iterations there. And check out Limbo on exchange.art. The earworm with a few mushrooms in the background. Let's take a closer look. And so another beautiful classic illustration here by Limbo, where these kind of artery branches of the person turn into a face, and did really well. This is really kind of classic Limbo work. 10 of 10 sold for 0.2 sol. So that would be maybe 20 or 30 bucks each. So nice haul for Limbo there on exchange.art, and all sold out. So how cool is that? Looks like sold out the day it was posted. So nice work there from Limbo. Cool kind of cult artist, as Papa would say. Visiting Grandpa Mickey. So this is Pensionen Satan, Mr. Satan. And let's just bring it all home here. Here is just another cool illustration here, almost referencing, we saw a lot of Mickey Mouse works, Steamboat Willie. My mom made an important comment, actually. I'm glad this came up, that she was watching a news report that, there's a difference, I guess, between Steamboat Willie and Mickey Mouse. That, the copyright has expired for Steamboat Willie, but not necessarily Mickey Mouse. That was interesting. I haven't gone further on the research there, but just so you know. So here is an older person in the form of Mickey Mouse. I could see that almost going to court to a certain degree. Visiting Grandpa Mickey. So this is 3 Tezos, and how many are available? There are 22 left. And that is on primary. And continuing on, Greco-Rando with a cool drawing here. Naipes Españoles, and this is 25 Tezos. It looks like a 1 of 1. Let's just make it bigger here. And cool. They look like playing cards. Naipes Cartas Españoles. Maybe this is the Spanish version of Scopa or something, which is an Italian card game. So this is probably... I'm sure someone watching this, we have a lot of Latin American and maybe some Spanish watchers too, they probably know what this is. Cartas Españolas, maybe a Spanish Scopa. Cool work, great subject. Here is Demon Ego with a beautiful GM here, showcasing the dexterity Demon Ego has here, mixing different mediums here, print, digital, and everything. Just a really cool, bold artist here. I have a couple more. Check this out. Again, mixing mediums here. As you see, collage here, but then GIF underneath. I mean, not many people are mixing things like this, and mixing successfully, making it look easy. All of these things. Just very interesting, cool work here from Demon Ego. Here's another one. Kind of a window into Demon Ego's process a little bit, I think. New work on Foundation soon. Playing with these kind of stretch tools, and here, and just an interesting composition. Here you see what looks like a reference to the Photoshop canvas, and even the guidelines, but keeping the guides from Photoshop here, these red lines here. Interesting. We'll see where this one ends up. And here's one more that was minted to object. 50 Tezos on primary. This looks like a 1 of 1. So a 1 of 1 Demon Ego. The regs they found to cover up with. And let's take a closer look here. And so looking mostly physical here, we see the colored pencils and this great kind of, one of the, as I like to call it, instant poetry is when you color in something, just make some colors of something, and then you put something completely unrelated, say with black outline or something, or you put a screenshot of, as I will, with a news article, and all of a sudden you start to have instant poetry. The layers start to basically pun off of each other, I'd argue. So cool 1 of 1 for 50 Tezos from Demon Ego. And here's one more, posted to Twitter, and I think also works with the printer, as you can see here. So maybe some digital collage, some inkjet, and these beautiful gradients here, and then drawing on top of it. Makes really precious, interesting, cool work. Continuing on, this I found on Twitter, Molly McCutcheon. So I didn't see this minted on a blockchain. I can't remember who tweeted this out. Someone retweeted it. I thought a pretty cool drawing here. Kind of has a surreal feel to it. Nice kind of pen and colored pencils on some pretty nice paper there. Lorna Mills Flyboy Oops. So just checking. I was like, oh no, is it not recording? It is recording. Okay, Lorna Mills Flyboy Oops. So of course Lorna Mills uses race horses' names for the titles of all her works. So she has told me. So that is pretty interesting. We learned that in the Spaces, actually, which I highly recommend. There was a great Spaces we did, I believe in December, with Lorna Mills. So here you see what I'd call one of her nature works, although this one kind of spins out of control a little bit. And you see her trademark, marquee tool fill at the top here in the dark blue. So interesting piece by Lorna Mills, available for 20 Tezos on primary. and 11 owners, and there are 7 left at 20 and 14 more after that. Here, this is a brilliant piece by Sabato with a reserve of 0.33 ETH on Foundation, Glitch Hero. Very fun piece. I think the first Sabato was saying on Twitter, on X of 2024, very nice piece. As you'll see here, you see the Glitch Hero, which just totally disintegrates there. That's my favorite part. I also love the TV. You know, of course, a lot of glitch artists use these old TVs, and there you see the eye at the heart of the TV. Quite a brilliant work here by Sabato, and just very fun and beautiful. So again, just fun work. You know, it's like, I was thinking about this as I was putting this show together. I was like, if this is like a visual DJ set, this is the part of the DJ set where things are just cruising along. If I'm putting together, like, if you consider going through all these tabs like a DJ, this is, we're cruising along here. Because you could easily start a show with this, you could end a show with this. I've decided to put it right in the middle. So anyways, just brilliant work from Sabato as usual. Crystal Bridge, this is by Nicholas Dietrich on Zora. So more multi-chain action here with a very minimal piece. I wonder if we can make this bigger. There we go. It'd be nice if these were centered, or if there was a maximize on Zora. That would be the one tip I'd give them, is if we can get a maximize button, or if you open it in a new tab, if it was centered. That would be amazing. So continuing on, we see these two diamonds just interchanging between these gradients of green and purple. Let's just see again if there was a title on that. If it loads, Crystal Bridge. Let's just see. A connecting transitional or intermediate route or phase between two elements, activities, or conditions. So kind of an abstract piece, I think we could say. Cool work there. How much is it? Let me just see. If it loads up, it looks like a free mint. So a couple of bucks. That is cool. And continuing on, Slava 3, DK Connect. So a new work, an open edition on Object, and let's just take a closer look. Of course, often using retro tech. Here we have an old phone and old, maybe Winamp type interface here, and old Windows 95 kind of file icons and everything. Classic internet work here with an interesting kind of textured background there. Repairing a broken connection is always as easy as creating a new one. Isn't that true? So 550 open edition, and not sure, and I think 0 sold, so you might be able to sneak in there. Only a day to go. You might be able to sneak in and get a 1 of 1 if you luck out there. I did with Rustic digital art. I was able to, I did that like a year ago, or I think maybe a year and a half, where I bid $1 with like a minute left and managed to get a beautiful 1 of 1. But he was a great sport about it, Rustic. Thank you, Rustic. And I've bought a ton of Rustic's work. Anyway, let's continue here. Okay, we have Muji with a work here using Deluxe Paint 4, a popular vintage software, Quiet Night. And here we see some just interesting tech here, and almost like fireflies or something going through the galaxy here with a nice dithered gradient at the bottom. Interesting circular rectangle here. Mask at the bottom there, rounded corners, Quiet Night with a nice underscore there, 300 Tezos, a 1 of 1 on Object. Continuing on, John. This is pretty funny. So, of course, with all the talk, and maybe I'll bring up those tweets tomorrow of the death of Tezos. I think it was Patrick Amadon, 2018, who was saying, it's probably not going to be around in 2027. So here, John, a classic Tezos artist, puts the tombstone 2018 to 2027, rest in peace. And there's some beautiful rain, beautiful digital rain in the background there. So nice piece. This is an open edition, 5 Tezos, and owners 152. So doing pretty well, and some people buying 10. That is impressive. 11 hours to go. Beautiful piece, minted, or posted, I should say, on X by mech.txt, and again, another take on what seems to be water here, or sky. Beautiful framing device here as well, so just more beautiful work by Mech. And as you can see, it's a 2-to-1, where it's vertical pixels, as I like to call them, or 2 square pixels on top of each other. And that's kind of what gives, that's what we also see in the Node Monkeys too, Very powerful aesthetically. You see it here. See, this is a 2-to-1 ratio in the tree. And you see in the blank space. And then if you want, you can make a square with it if you put two of them side by side. So interesting. So it creates, there's a bit more variation, you might say, in the 2-to-1 ratio. It gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of just creating difference, so to speak. So just interesting work as ever and beautiful. Just love the DOS series there by mech.txt. Intersystem Communication Tower. This is by Stalamir, of course. And this is available for 13 Tezos. There are 11 left on primary. And again, as we see here, kind of a sci-fi, almost like ancient Egyptian aliens from the future. Kind of a sci-fi vibe here and interesting colors here as we see the kind of electricity pour through this kind of Babylon of sorts into this, this temple, this sci-fi temple is really what this looks like with a couple of suns there. Nice piece from Stalamir. Continuing on, Element Lee with a beautiful post here of more experimental pixel art here. I believe made on the phone, only 256 by 256. Just posted, looks like daily art here from Element Lee. And so a cool river, seemingly. And here, this is Green Ginger, Dance Together. Dance Together. Love it. And here, massive pixels here, cool animation, a lot of energy, and just feeling the disco dance music here, getting ready to party. When did this come out? This is like a perfect New Year's Eve kind of piece here. January 6th. Okay, so late to the party here. I'm late to the party here. Continuing on, Manidal Art Cataverse posted on Twitter. Sorry, on Instagram. And here we see the spaceship that kind of similar to that Gogolitis Manidal collaboration. We see kind of a similar setup here. And here's the astronaut. The cat is going into space. And here is a still version. So Cataverse, next drop on object.com. So that comes January 8th. I think that's yesterday. So maybe already dropped on Manidal. And here's Pamelo on Zora. And again, just like, I want to highlight this because it's just, you see the originality of Pamelo's work. You instantly can tell. I guess it's the colors, it's maybe the textured paper, it's maybe just everything, the way it's drawn, the spirit, like making it look easy. This person looking to the side, this person looking straight on, these are not easy decisions. Again, risk-taking, right? So cool work there. And here, of course, is Hasdrubal Waffle, and with some really cool posts here on X. 4 is an unlucky number, so more likely 2025. So who knows what that means, but maybe that means they'll be minted somewhere this year. I believe I saw Hasdrubal write that one of ones are going to be minted. And a lot of these are going to be one of ones, I think. Don't go to the internet tomorrow. And so here is another piece here with all this great dithering and originality here, almost some glitching here over top of repeated drawing of this face that are kind of repeated through, just making it look so easy. And here is another one, and this one is animated with gorgeous animation here. Always a little bit edgy here, and a beautiful kind of background animation and everything. Just awesome colors, just very rich work. From Hasdrubal Waffle. And one more, again, don't go to the internet tomorrow. This one's financial advice, do internet crimes. So maybe a little satire here. And look at this brush. I feel like this is another program that Hasdrubal uses. Often again, and again, I highly recommend the Twitter space that we did. What you learn is, at least what Hasdrubal was saying at the time, what Waffles was saying at the time, is he'll sometimes have like 6 or 7 tabs open, and he'll just work on pieces with these internet-based programs, and just work on them here and there over the course of the week, and then release them. RJ also uses a internet-based software. Continuing on, let me know if you answered correctly in the poll, among other softwares that RJ uses. Here's Retroman, Quinera Belt, and here we see a preview of the video game here, which I will show the NFT, but I thought the preview was pretty rad too. I've just had that word that Orion Starbase is under attack. So Of course, Retro Manny continues to work on the Retro Man video game here. And we're seeing a little preview there. So here it is, Stage 3, Quinera Belt. So just a really original project here. 3 Tezos edition. There are how many left here? 21 left on primary. So there it is. A still. Oh, no, it's not a still. And is there volume? So I think it's just a video without volume. So here you see it. So pretty cool. And more high resolution here. So let's see. It looks like Retro Manny is building the video game. So just pretty cool. Let's continue. We have Bleeze 420 Luya. Not sure who this is, but kind of an edgy video game looking work here. It looks like screenshots from like a 90s video game and then maybe manipulated a little bit. You know, this has a touch of those Sabato kind of works where going through architecture. And here, yeah, just edgy work here. So not sure who this is, but loving the experimentation. Lucas Lejeune with a cool animated abstract vector work, Twin Swim. So 2 shapes just going through space here. And this is on object. How are we doing? An hour 11, not terrible at all. Twin Swim, so very cool work. GIF 30 frames per second and buy for 9 Tezos on primary, and there are 7 left. Lucas Lejeune. And here's Dylan. So Dylan, of course, makes a lot of those abstracts that we know. And so here is a GIF called Time, kind of an animated abstract with a little bit of experimental pixelation, just something a little different here. Of course, you might remember Dylan from these works here. We've looked at quite a few of them. So a new kind of experiment here, I think, with Dylan. But as you see, there's already GIF experimentation way back here. So just interesting. I have to say, Object's new interface here is excellent. You no longer have to page through. I think it's way better for the artist and for the collector. As well, if you click on a collection now, you get everything together. It's not hidden. They fixed all the issues that I could identify when I was noticing Object, a year ago. So they really did a great job there. Cloudnoise.pixel, Habitat, work in progress. Just an interesting animated abstract here. Kind of geometric, kind of pretty digital. Almost looks like a 3D rendering thing turned into abstract art somehow. Just interesting piece. Habitat, work in progress. Endless Tower. A Fantasy 3. This is by Figments here. So more work by Cap'n. I don't think we looked at this one yesterday. It is possible, though. And there you see, there's the share and earn, 5%. Not sure, I think we already looked at this, actually. 8 Tezos on primary. And let's continue here. Pepe Sor. This is by Burst Sector, who has made a ton of really cool, and this has a lot of flashing in it. Tez Trash. This is for Tez Trash, I think, with a Pepe in it. Trash is love, bootleg is culture. So Burst Sector has done a ton of cool kind of homages. As you'll see, there's a great one to Strange Thing. You Win. To Strange Things Thug Lord. That is worth checking out if you've never seen it. This is My You Machine Gun. So more just experimental pixel art. Almost looks like a Terminator meets the Punisher kind of figure. Interesting experiments in the background here as well. So this is 10 Tezos on secondary. So sold out for only 2 Tezos. One Tezos, 88 Tezos cents on primary there. And maybe an addition of maybe 10. Continuing on, Kels. Collected nice work here by Loop ASCII. And I like this ASCII work as well. It's kind of hard to, I would say make a cool original ASCII work, but I think we found one here. Haiti Rocket has, of course, made some really amazing ones. Check out the MC... Is it MC Hammer? Or maybe that's just pixelation. But check out Haiti Rocket's feed as well if you're looking for really great ASCII works. Or Petsky. Here's Loop ASCII, though. Nice piece. Nice find, Kells. Sean Luke with a work here. Looks like a pen being applied, kind of giving this algorithm process, or maybe a sword. This looks like a sword because actually I think there's another one of an axe that's going around that was recently released by Sean Luke, so maybe a video game theme, interestingly. And you see the frame here kind of cycling through. Interesting piece by Sean Luke, 66 frames, and sells for a ton. 150 Tezos each, and looks like sold out. And how many are here? Maybe addition of 5. So very nice market there for Sean Luke. Continuing on, Oxeye. Just going to leave this on for a second because of the flashing, but I thought it was pretty cool, isn't it? Love the big pixels, big distorted pixels here. So again, there's a lot of flashing here. So going to keep moving, but pretty interesting move by Oxeye. Going to go pretty quick on this one too. Elna Frederick with old 3.5-inch discs put in a kind of checkerboard pattern here. Very cool. And continuing on, this is Carson with, is this now this is January, so this is generative art. Can you change it? I don't think so, but it's generative art. I'm not sure if the mouse maybe changes. I could see, maybe my mouse isn't working here, because I could see this being changed by the mouse, by the cursor. So what I'm trying to say, January 8th, 2024. So this is brand new. Continuing on, this was sent to me by DJ Kuro. Loacme overwritten, or I think maybe Kuro posted it, is what I'm trying to say. Very cool piece here. And I don't think we've looked at this before. This is a pretty cool animated abstract with a lot of pixelation here. And this was minted January 6th, so just minted here. Continuing on, a few works by Acid Boy, GM Particles, lots for January. So I guess January is Generative Art Month. And here you see some interesting experimentation from Acid Boy with the pixels in the background. Never seen that. Of course, we've seen this blob before. And some really nice pieces here. Matter minting this week. And I think Acid Boy has a new mint on Super Rare as well. Put on the to-do list of things to check out. So again, always very, far out here. As I like to call him, the master of psychedelic abstraction. Great color choice here in the green. And even going to the black and here matter. I mean, just cool, very cool. And look at this, experimenting here. Again, it's flashing, so I'm not going to leave it on too long, but just impressive, impressive original work here. Kind of metaphysical work. Strano, early render of Automata collab with Cream Safa. So pretty cool. Another, I think this is the second work in progress, that I've seen with this collaboration here. So taking Cream Safa's, pixel art factories in black and white and kind of rendering them in 3D a la Strano. So pretty wild collaboration here. Renki with a cool work here. None listed, just beautiful. Another interesting original animated abstract. Nishi Kujo. And there's only, I think it's a 1 of 1. And not for sale, not listed yet. And here is Zoxo, who does a lot of video game kind of imagery here. This is called 4, and this is an open edition for only 69 Tezos cents. And as you can see here, it kind of has a retro computer game feel to it. Very nice piece here. Cool, I like the blue too. Which seems to reference those old computer kind of blue screen of death, as they like to call it, when your computer would fritz out back in the 90s. Ripple. This is by Human Boy. Some more animated abstract here, where we see kind of a landscape piece turned kind of pixelated out with a touch of perhaps glitch and some animation and just a solid white background here. This is edition of 4 or maybe 5. It's hard to tell the edition numbers, and this is available for 5 Tezos. 5 editions. Here, it says here. Okay, we've solved that. So edition of 5 for 5 Tezos. And this was posted on the feed. Someone posted this. I don't know what their name is, though. We'll open the account here. But let's look at the work first, called Cluster. A cool animated abstraction here, edition of 5. Looks like it's sold out. None available. And just cool work that could hang alongside Acid Boy there. And some of these other artists here, Human Boy. So anyway, cool animated abstract here with these kind of cubic pixels. Who is this? I see the Cluster is the name of the work. And so again, I just see the wallet. It looks like one work listed here. If you tweet out the work and you happen to see this, that artist, I will retweet you and put it underneath the video here. And post it underneath the video. Mika Oladev with some cool kind of vertical, kind of retro pixelation here with a cool portrait. GN. Here's another one. This one's in black and white with a little bit more glitching, seemingly. And here is one more. This one's pretty wild. Look at this. So interesting experimentation from Mika Oladev. Very cool. Continuing on, here is Lydia Moon. And it is called Virtual. When you are mean to me, this is who you being mean with. Made on Procreate, interestingly. So cool window here and nice glitching and everything. Just original glitch work by Lydia Moon with a lot of the animated characters that we've seen before. This is available for 2 Tezos. And how many are left here? We have 42 left, and there's an addition of 50. All right, we solved the addition. Here's a beautiful work by Dr. Version. Landscape 18. Let's make this larger. So nice development here on this series. We've seen a lot of pyramids, interesting shapes, and here just some really nice video glitchery from Dr. Version in this piece here. Beautiful color. I might add, and selling, already sold 3 at 8 Tezos, and this is an edition of 8. And this is also gorgeous here. LB, still waiting. I almost started with this. This is beautiful. You know how we were talking about the work that I was making, where I was like, I just think it's done? And that was kind of risky. I kind of get the same vibe off this one. I mean, there's something, like, as I try and stretch my own aesthetic understanding of beauty and aesthetics, as I try and push it, this has a rawness to it. I'm kind of really excited, you might say, about just what's raw, like almost trying to boil it down. And here it's just like big yellow, big flashing yellow, boom, boom, boom. And again, there's a lot of flashing here, so I'm not going to dwell on this one. Nice color. It just works. It just works. And there's something to be said for that. Francois Gamma picking one up, August Ground, big collector there. Doing a lot of collecting there. LB, just beautiful work from LB. Very nice glitch there. This, Kiro, GM, Stairs by Ricano. So remember Ricano? With the gradient drawings and then of course, the animated works of the offices and everything. Well, here's some more experimentation of doing generative art. And so here you see a work here. And as it's called Stairs, and here you see, and actually all sold out at 0.002. So selling for almost, for a very low price. And how big's this edition? 80 remaining. So it's an edition of 100. Interesting strategy. So selling for almost for free there at 0.002. Interesting move from Ricano. Stairs. And a few more beautiful compositions here by Klaus. Here is the latest, picked up by Sabato last night. And so very nice pixelation here, just more brilliant colors. Composition 52. Here's another one, Composition 47. I just adore this series. It's just aesthetically just rich. Composition 42. Again, just really nice pieces here. And Klaus is just knocking them out, and they're all selling. Look at this, Tenoper. Here's another one, Composition 51, kind of has a sun or a planet feel to it. Great color as ever. Look at this beautiful dark blue with this beautiful violet pinks here, and then gray noise. Beautiful. And this also sold 21 Tezos. These were going for 12 before, right? And here's Ex-Immortal, who picked up a lot of those early compositions, if I remember right. And Somfei as well. Meet Me at Midnight. So beautiful palm tree here. Glitched out palm tree with clouds seemingly flowing overhead. And this is sold out at $666, and this is an edition of 15. And here we have Kurt Hustle Collective, Vibrid, Welcome to Villa Zodone. And let's see if we... Some more kind of lounge, just hanging out by the pool. Do a little more. Oh, this is beautiful. Like, really talented, these guys. Love the melodic choices of, is it Culture? Maybe it's this, I wonder if it's like related to that other artist, because I call them the cool melodies. I call them the cool melodies. Vibrant. That whoever there's an artist in there, maybe a couple or more, who's really a master of the cool melodies. So cool work there. Check this out, Salawaki. Hour and 24. I should be able to keep the show shorter from here. So
this show is brought to you by
Poll.
So satirical work
The
here
road to financial freedom
by
has never
Salawaki.
been clearer.
Of course,
Poll. Your safest bet.
referring to
Invest in Poll.
the
I couldn't afford my
Poll
own air
token.
fryer just months ago, but with Poll, I did not just buy one, but 5 air fryers.
So just really cool.
Expand. Gain. Grow. Poll.
This year, the road to financial freedom.
I
has
better
never
buy
been
more.
clearer.
I better buy more.
Need is a computer. Some cash.
So really nicely done here. Goes for a minute 40.
100 money for a lot.
Of course, Poll is, you might recognize this for people like my mom. So Poll, of course, is if you remember the Tez poll that I was showing you, Mom, on the phone and over Christmas. And of course, there's a token. Someone put out a meme token relating to it. So here, now we have a commercial for the meme token. So it continues. Look at No Hygiene. Look at No Hygiene. Beauty. Great title here and beautiful work. Is this AI? I mean, No Hygiene, of course, does all this very experimental AI work, almost looking from video games made with Midjourney. You know, it goes to show that Midjourney has really improved its pixelation, because when you did kind of pixel art type stuff earlier, you wouldn't get such straight lines. You'd still get kind of weird, again, distortions. Now, this looks like it's not clear if it was made with AI. Really nice piece here by No Hygiene, selling out one of one. I think it sold right away to Hans for 19 Tezos, so nice sale, nice piece. Here's Lily Illo with another really nice piece here, maybe from the Architecture series, and here, Architects in Chairs, I think it's called. Really nice. We were talking about taking risks here, and as well as on Lily's other composition, more compositional risks here. So very cool painterly work here by Lily Illo. Really nice textures there. And continuing, here's the work by Skamra. Beautiful rainbow texture here. And again, using the woman or the person at the laptop or computer, at the terminal, so to speak. It's kind of a portrait of us to a certain degree at our computers here. One hand on one computer, one hand on the other, and almost a hand creeping out of the other computer. Really nice piece, great color. And here, Strange Thing, with a beautiful message for 2024 here. Almost the counterpoint to the gloom tube, menacing specter of 2024. Here we have the riot police giving flowers to the kid who maybe would be spray painting normally. And and quite beautifully done here. And you know what this is also kind of a cool quote of, I would argue, is of Banksy with the girl throwing the flowers rather than the rocks, or the guy, right? It's kind of in that spirit, isn't it? I mean, those could definitely be united thematically, and interesting pixelating out all the faces here except for the kid in the balaclava in this beautiful Renaissance scene here. So again, Strange Thing, as you see here, everybody, to a certain degree, like I sometimes wonder myself, is everybody catching up to Strange Thing when it comes to AI? I mean, this is again, creating a new history here, an alternative history using these, modern imagery here. There's a big Bitcoin. I mean, this could also start the show. Strange Thing has started this show so many times, I like to give other people a chance, but I mean, this kind of captures the zeitgeist too, doesn't it? So a beautiful piece here from Strange Thing, almost looks like a self-portrait. And here's Martin Joe with a cool piece, GN Little Bears, Sweet Dreams. And here, kind of risque again with the sausages on the bed. And here, maybe a kinky bear perhaps in a suit on a bed with smoke coming out of the ears. So all sorts of mayhem going there. Sweet dreams. Little cakes. One more AI work here. Token to raise funds for Peace Winds Japan. Of course, who are helping the areas affected by the earthquake, burning remaining tokens on Wednesday. Exchange balance to fiat, make the donation, and we'll post a screenshot. So you still have one more day, or at least maybe today, to support the earthquake in Japan to raise money. And just a beautiful work here by Little Cakes for a good cause using AI. Going into the physical work, we go, and there is a Lamat by William Darkdrack, and I think this is different from the other one we saw by William Darkdrack. A brilliant painting of a gesture, these beautiful splashes here, juggling these like balls with people's faces on it. I mean, a brilliant, beautiful work here. Here's another one by Margaret Cowles, a fish on a plate, more food, and just brilliantly done here, using colored pencils on paper. Just beautiful work there. I love that artist. Sean Huckins, never seen this artist before. Pretty interesting. Is this an oil painting? Oil and acrylic on canvas, a popular technique. And you see, like, yeah, it looks like an oil painting, and pretty interesting and original work, I would say. Tempting to even see like an AI influence here. Hard to say, but when I see a really original composition like this, I do start to wonder, was AI involved in this? So interesting piece, isn't it? So that is Sean Huckins. Really cool. That's at Richard Heller Gallery in June. And here, this was also pretty interesting. Cyber Dreams Ethernet. So here, a play on the old Internet Explorer logo, and even the Windows XP landscape, but a different kind. And here, dithered out. So not sure what the original, what this file is supposed to look like. Are we supposed to consume these separately? See, this is the dithered version. This is the one with the sparkles. Or is there one kind of moving piece that incorporates all three? I'm not sure. Julian Pace with a really cool painting here. Almost looks like raw canvas here. Not sure. With soccer players, with a soccer player. With that famous David Beckham, it looks like, but a really edgy, almost Jack Kirby-like David Beckham figure. Really nice painting. And here, of course, Bondozo Bandito, one of my favorite artists right now, super prolific. Again, working with the very popular airbrush or spray or whatever it is here. It looks like an airbrush, and then filling it in, making a beautiful contrast with color here, and keeping the airbrush in black and white. Just really smart work. Here's some more. And Generational Thief, never trademark their stuff. And here's the map and a passport. Just really interesting choice of imagery, too. Edgy, irrational in a great way. Very, very cool work here. And also here, need to kill my notifications here on Instagram. So more just here's text, keeping the viewer guessing. Some Soulja Boy stuff, like, and really interesting. It clearly uses the projector a lot, I would argue. And so nice textures here too. You see underneath putting that nice kind of gesso, seemingly gesso, and then airbrush on top. Beautiful textures, isn't it? Here's one more, Race Until You Grace. And, so just able to knock these off super fast. This is a pretty small work, but an awesome one, right? There's nice and up close, nice documentation there. And of course, Walk with some more virtuoso spray painting here. I think this is called Ever Dreamed This Man, right? And so this is, of course, that classic man who appears in dreams, if I'm not mistaken. Cider also did that. That's where I learned about that whole meme. And here's Mark Belden with another piece on beautiful violet purple paper here. And I'm not sure how Mark Belden is getting the color so strong, like maybe putting a lot of white in the paint in order to, because this would be tricky to get the color like this, so opaque on this kind of what seems like pretty textured paper. Gouache. So just interesting. And here, this is Naked Galena, and this is on Object, finally here. Can't believe we have another. I'm going to shorten these shows. This is not the norm, but it was a week and a half of work here. Here's Naked Galena with some cool work here. Night Orgy of Cauliflowers and Moss Dusting Them, and this is an edition of, I think, 10 for 4 Tezos. Yes, edition of 10 for 4 Tezos, and were just listed, I think, this morning on Object. And here, of course, is Diego Barro with another cool pen work. So this was made on Procreate, though. So using a physical tool, but in a digital version, the virtual version of the pen. And he also makes actual physical versions with the pen. So nice piece here with the signature and the title below. So nice to see Diego Barro back January 4th, 2024. So a new mint there. For longtime watchers of the show, you'll know Diego Barro. Joao Salazar, Still Life from the Windows, and here, a new mint on Object. So a new piece here by Joao. Cool as ever, almost looking like a Warhol there, the skull there in the window. Plasticine painting on acrylic board 2023, and again, 669 on primary, and 7 left, edition of 21. And that, my friends, is your show. Come join us with Artie Hands tomorrow on Twitter Spaces, on X Spaces. Come hang out with Runetoon and I and Artie Hands. It'll be a great talk. Until next time, take care.